Today, we are at an important crossroads in the fight against climate change. As we move towards a net zero, just and carbon resilient society, we need new, pioneering concepts and innovative ways of doing business to help us achieve that goal.
Over the last 10 years, ClimateLaunchpad has been at the forefront of supporting individuals all over the world who want to take action on climate through problem solving and entrepreneurial thinking. ClimateLaunchpad has actively supported ideas development for climate innovation in diverse local contexts, encouraging climate innovators to take the first steps in making their ideas into reality. And we know that it works. In 10 years, we've received applications from almost 15,000 people, and we have supported them to incubate about 5,000 of those ideas. We celebrate the fact that Climate Launchpad alumni have gone on to raise almost 500 million euros in funding for their startups, in turn creating thousands of jobs.
What began in 10 countries in Europe in 2014 has evolved into the world's largest green business ideas competition. We collaborate with over 40 enterprise support organizations in 50 countries around the world. We represent a global dialogue, sharing and connecting of climate innovations across continents. In each country, climate ideas are nurtured through our bootcamps, where entrepreneurs receive hands-on training to develop a business plan and a pitch, with the top teams pitching their ideas to an expert panel at national and international levels.
It's not just about the startup. We offer our supporters a chance to get actively involved, become inspired, and help shape these green business ideas.
I got involved with Climate Launchpad in 2022. I think it is important that initiatives such as Climate Launchpad get the attention that they deserve, and it is a critical part of driving the battle against climate change.
The future, I think, is bright when we hand it to those people there. So that's the way I'm going home in great form, you know, and I'm delighted I came here. And by the way, I'm delighted the Government of Ireland and Irish Aid are supported.
Over the last 10 years, we've kick-started a global pipeline of climate solutions and, even more importantly, a network of skilled climate innovators, actively learning how to really change the world. So join us and help support the next 10 years of climate innovations.
Find out more at ClimateLaunchpad.org.
Wow, what an amazing feeling to be part of this together with you. Welcome. My name is Claire Visser, and as the national lead for Climate Launchpad the Netherlands, it is truly my honor to present to you today the regional European finals. We're here at the Green Village, the Field Lab for Innovation and Sustainability at the TU Delft campus, collaborating with Climate-KIC and the Bank of America to bring you this exciting event. This year, we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Climate Launchpad competition. And today we celebrate that with 8 fantastic contestants that will be sharing their story with us today. So stay tuned as you will learn more about these startups and be challenged by our startups as well as our guests, whom I will introduce to you later. For now, I would like to take the opportunity to learn a little bit more about the journey of Climate Launchpad so far. And therefore, I would like to invite to the podium here with me in the studio, Emily Bronsing, lead of the Climate Launchpad program.
Thank you, Claire.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
A decade of green business innovation, and you've been part of that journey for over 5 years, I believe. What makes Climate Launchpad stand out?
Yeah, Climate Launchpad has a very global character. So we are running this program in already 50 countries. And we are doing this only for entrepreneurs with a green idea, a clean tech idea, who wants to do something good for the planet. And I think that combination is what we're looking for.
5,000 startups already been through the Climate Launchpad program. What do you believe is the secret sauce to this success?
The secret sauce. We are running this program with so many energetic, inspirational people. All our national leads in all the countries, the bootcamp trainers, the coaches, the people who are looking and taking care of all the following up sessions that people receive. but also the very inspiring entrepreneurs themselves. So that combination makes Climate Launchpad interesting for teams to apply. But also I think my team, I'm very proud that we have make it to grow the Climate Launchpad program to so many countries in the last years in combination with our partners, Climate-KIC, Irish Aid and Bank of America.
Great. Hey, and this cycle started all actually in March this year. That was the time that we kicked off the registrations for this year's finals. Can you walk us through the journey of our finalists today?
Yeah. After they applied, all the jury members in all our countries make a selection which teams are able to enter the bootcamps. And after the bootcamp, all the teams receive follow-up sessions and coaching sessions to prepare their pitch for their national finals. And the best 3 teams of the national finals make it to the regional final. So last week we had regional finals in Africa and Asia Pacific, yesterday in LATAC, and today we have the final of the European final.
Yeah, and I've learned that you will actually moderate the journey. What's on today's agenda?
Today the top 8 teams that won the semi-finals last Tuesday are going to pitch their ideas again today for a new international jury. So very looking forward about their pitches and what they are going to do. And in between we have some other interesting speakers.
And where will they go home with, the winners?
We always say Climate Launchpad is not about winning. So they are already a winner by making it to the top 8 teams out of the 340 teams or 450 teams you received in Europe only. For everybody who is here today, but also the non-winners that make it to this final, we hope that they have learned a lot in the last months and that we give them the network and the peers to start their business and to go forward with their journey. But in the end, the best 3 teams from today will receive some cash prizes.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much and enjoy the show.
Yes, I will. And very good luck for the pitching teams today.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Wow, we have a jam-packed program for you this afternoon, and I'm very excited to learn more about the startups of today. But before we do that, I would like to continue to actually invite our ally from Climate-KIC. Please come to the stage. David, welcome.
Thanks, Claire. Good to be here.
Hi. Yes, David. Why is... I forgot to mention, you're of course the strategic program builder at Climate-KIC and also responsible in that way for Climate Launchpad. And from that perspective, why do you believe that Climate Launchpad is so important to the ecosystem?
Yeah, Climate Launchpad is really unique in the ecosystem because we're coming in at the very earliest stage. So we're helping people who just have a great, innovative, climate-friendly idea. And through entrepreneurial thinking and some tools and resources, we just help them take the first steps in building a business plan and a pitch around that idea. So we're really at the very earliest stage. And I think that's what is so important for the ecosystem.
And what do you believe makes this program tick?
What makes this program tick would be a lot of collaboration and just great work with all of our partners. So one of the great collaborations we have is, of course, with the Technical University of Delft. We've been working with TU Delft since the beginning, so for 10 years now. Of course, our funding partners from Irish Aid and Bank of America. And then, of course, we also have our national leads who are we work with over 40 national leads in 50 countries around the world. And of course, the innovators themselves, all the people that submit amazing, incredible ideas to us every year and take part in the program. So it's a magical mix of all different actors getting involved.
Yes. Last question from my side. Do you have any advice for our contestants today?
Yeah, I do. So this may feel like the final step, but it's really just the start of your journey. To everyone who's pitching today, I wish you all the best of luck, but think about how maybe can you work with your peers, look for other opportunities for collaboration to really increase and amp up your impact. And of course, just good luck with the pitches today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And enjoy the show as well. We have a captivating program lined up for you this afternoon, featuring 8 innovative ideas that will be shared through a 5-minute video that will be broadcasted to you. After these pitch videos, the teams will have a live Q&A with our esteemed jury. And these teams have worked very hard to inspire and impress. Emily told us already a little bit about it. They followed the bootcamp program and they already all made it to today's finals. I'm very happy I'm not in their shoes, but it's an honor to introduce you to our jury of today. Yes, first up we have Brian Weinstein. He's the Managing Director at the Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Brian, welcome. You have extensive financial experience and you add uniqueness to our panel with that. And I wondered, what has your attention in today's jury?
Well, obviously, congratulations to everyone who made it here today. I think if you look from a financial perspective, which I guess is my expertise, I think from us, we want to come for sort of an assessment of how likely a financial investor would be willing to fund this project. Now, as you know, all these startups are great ideas, but usually there's typically a high level of risk in execution. So the simple things we would look at is one is what stage are you in product development and what is the cost to create and bring that product to market? Do we have proof of concept either through sales or use cases where the product is very clear? And then if you think about a startup, it's at the very beginning, so there's a whole ramp up phase. So really, you're going to incur lots of expenses to build your team. So how much you require per month? So you took all that together, you then have an expected break even between your costs and your sales. How much money would that project require for a financial investor to invest to bring it to market? So these are some of the things we look at to figure out how feasible an actual project is. So you have a great idea, you have the execution, and then really the financial side.
Okay, thank you, Brian, and also good luck with those tough decisions. Next up, we have Marianne Krijns. Marianne is the director of the Green Village. To begin with, Marianne, thank you for allowing us to host this event from your office. And I would like to ask you, with your background in sustainability and innovation, what interests you most when reviewing these startups?
Yeah, of course, we are part of a technical university, so we are mainly curious to see what spectacular innovations are presented. So that's my personal interest, the interest of our team here. And besides that, we learned the hard lesson ourselves here in the Green Village that with only technology, you won't make it. And Brian, being a banker, already explained much more about that business case. We are not the experts in that, but we realize that it's super important. So we would like to see that the startups understand the importance of that. And another thing that we see often as a big failure is that startups are not aware of the legal aspects, the regulations in which they have to operate. So are they aware of all these difficulties that they're going to see on their way?
Okay, thank you, Marianne. And I look forward to see you later today in the studio as well. For now, I would like to continue to Chris Rowe, the Strategic Program Orchestrator from EIT Climate-KIC. And I wondered, as a program manager yourself, what do you really would like to see that the startups are going to address in their pitches today?
It's great. I think I'm super happy to be here, and it's great to kind of add on the two previous judges' lens and experience. I think for me, it's obviously the climate positive competition. It's about understanding, where is the potential from a climate impact perspective, and sort of really kind of drilling down into that. And both, is it realistic and is it high potential? But I think also for me, it's also a little bit about the aspiration of these businesses. We know that we need to transform the way that we live, consume, and make things, and it's really to say, are these startups contributing to that reimagined future, as the video at the start said, around net zero, just and climate resilient societies. So really, how are they contributing to that and bringing their expertise against those areas?
Okay, thank you very much. That's a great ambition. And well, our last jury member, I would like to introduce to you. Actually, he is a former champion of our very own competition. I would like to welcome Steven Rohr. Steven, having won ClimateLaunchpad back in 2017 already, you know what it takes to stand out, right? And I would like to learn from you, what you will be looking for in these presentations, and also if you can give our startups some last advice.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. Great to be here. It's an honor. Since 2017, a lot of things have happened, but I'm still on your side. So, like, as I'm a founder, entrepreneur in the climate scene, I went through a lot of barriers and challenges, and I think I'm always very much looking forward to like the excitement of the people, because I think it's really like the excitement and endurance you need in this industry to build any successful business. Because most of the things you will face along the journey, you don't know yet. So very much looking forward to the pitches later.
Yes, thank you. And indeed, good luck to our contestants. Well, it's really time for some pitch action. And before we start, I would like to inform you that we divided the group of 8 pitches into 2 sets. So we have 2 sets of a series of 4 pitches. The startups all prepared a 5-minute pitch video for us that will be broadcasted to you. Directly afterwards, we will have that live Q&A with the jury, what will last 3 minutes. Yes, it's really time now. So, all right. Here we go. We go with the first startup who is representing Portugal. It's one of the finalists, and it is Team Building.
Built-up areas in cities will double until 2060, generating 100 gigatons of embodied carbon, which is the equivalent of building 1 New York City every month until then. The construction sector is huge, everybody knows. So much so that the World Economic Forum estimates that by 2035, it will occupy 1/5 of the global economy. In other words, we will not reach carbon neutrality until 2050 unless we change the way we build today. And it's in this context that building was born. I'm Leonardo, and today I'm going to show you how building is working to lessen this impact. Our business model is a B2B model via a SaaS platform, in which we will study multiple construction scenarios. Our clients are the builders and the developers, and we will operate through a subscription model of 50,000 euros per year. We are currently working on our first pilot project, and we already have a proof of concept. We position ourselves in the beginning of the production chain at the early stage conception of a building's design. This way, we can have the biggest impact possible. We will start in Portugal, but we intend to go abroad by year 2 and then global by year 4. We are able to save between 5 and 15% on costs because we bring engineering and architecture together to discuss the best solution. The average project we work on costs around 5 million euros, so we can save up to 750,000 euros per project. We value empowering our clients face other stakeholders, and we can reduce the project cycles. So instead of doing preliminary works that would take months, we do it in minutes. So now you may even be curious and you'll ask me, so Leo, how do you do it? And I'll tell you, picture this. Imagine that John Doe wants to build a residential building. And for him, sustainability and cost are the most important parameters while analyzing the best solutions. So we'll study thousands of construction scenarios with our AI algorithms, from the architectural components to the structural elements design, the beams, slabs, and columns. This way, we'll be able to show him the best possible solution with our machine learning techniques. Using efficient and new materials is great, don't get me wrong, but you have to do it as efficiently as possible. We've had the opportunity to talk to more than 50 companies, institutions, and associations related to the construction sector across several countries. We found out that 90% of the leaders expect a big change in the sector, while the sustainability aspect of it is getting more and more ground. We also discovered that getting a more holistic construction approach paired with digitalization is the only way to find out the solutions of the problems we're experiencing today. Taking a 5% slice of the huge market, by year 5, we expect to be generating 25 million euros in profit. Our key drivers are the net price, the cost delivery, and the market share. We have a highly scalable product with great potential to generate big impact and internationalization. The construction sector is responsible for 40% of all carbon emissions, so any small change will amount to big impacts. Let's take, for example, a small residential building. which generates at around 800 kilograms of CO2 equivalent per square meter. Using our product, you can expect to save at least 50% of it. To generate the same impact of one single small building, a person would have to give up its car for more than 3 centuries. The team is composed by me, Leonardo, and Elias, 2 young dedicated engineers with civil and structural backgrounds, working full-time to make our dreams come true. And those are, you may ask, saving 1 trillion kilograms of CO2 equivalent and being present all over Europe by 2028. We have the shared philosophy that collaboration is key. So let's work together to build a greener future. As Elias likes to say, every built space has the power to mold our lives, and it's up to us to decide how we'll shape the future. And as we like to say in building, use less, but build more.
What a great green business idea to start our competition. Well, I hope you're ready for the jury, because Brian is waiting for you already to ask you the first question. So we have 3 minutes. Let's go.
So thanks, Leonardo, for that presentation. So my question is, if you look around the world, so a lot of cities are already putting in place green regulations. So new buildings that go up have to meet certain requirements. So I would assume that there's a lot of people offering different types of solutions. Could you just try to compare us how your solution differs from some of the other solutions that exist already, and why yours is very different?
For sure. The construction sector is huge. So can everyone listen to me? Okay. The construction sector is huge and has lots of problems. So many people are trying to tackle it. We differentiate ourselves because we think of engineering and architecture together, sewn through a sustainability thread. So many people try to add layers of complexity to the already complex process of construction, while we try to, in the beginning of the production chain, in the pre-conception, offer solutions to our clients to study multiple construction scenarios and come up with easier decisions. Elias, if you like to add something, but I guess this pretty sums up how we fare with our competition.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's great. We are thinking a holistic process. We try to think engineering and architecture together. This is a really different thing when we are seeing like the options.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Also, Marianne, I would like to give the word to you.
Yeah, you mentioned that you try to bring architecture and engineering together. I hope that with most architects, that's already the case. And if you look at a more sustainable operation, you also mentioned that that you only want to use materials that are necessary, but is there not only also a way to look at different type of materials? Is that also part of the case?
Yes, for sure, definitely. As I say in the pitch, new and better materials, it's great, but the difference is in the amount. We want to incorporate new materials to our platform, but right now we're focusing on reducing the over design that is already present in our construction. So, but yes, new materials with less ecological footprint will for sure be in our platform. But the most important part of it is reducing the amount of material that you put in a single building, because many times it's more than necessary, and it only leads to pollution.
Yeah, so that's your business case, reducing the amount.
Yes.
Okay, and that's your final answer, because time is over already. Wow, your passion for the idea really shines through. Good luck in the competition, and it's now time to go to our next pitch already. It's time to shine a spotlight on our Spanish team Quimsil.
Did you know that in Europe, alone 500,000 tons of silicon waste is generated every year? Currently, most of this waste is going to landfill. Hello, my name is Jorge Sanchez, and I'm going to introduce you to our company, Quimsil. At Quimsil, we turn this, a waste silicon mold, into this, recycled silicon fluid with many uses in different industries. We are a company dedicated to the recycling of silicon and plastic waste from the industrial sector. Our aim is to manage this plastic waste to reintroduce it back into the supply chain, offering a valuable product with very reduced environmental impact. At KIMSIL, we sell recycled silicon fluid to polymer distribution companies at a price of 3,780 euros per ton. Our raw material is the waste that we buy from industries at a price of 100 euros per ton. Our beachhead market is the companies that distribute silicon to manufacturers of cleaning products, paints, and textiles. The size of this market is 10 million euros at a local level, 84 million euros at national level, and 1,220 million euros at European level. Our potential customers currently consume virgin silicon for their processes. Our value proposition is based on offering a product with the same properties than virgin silicon, the correct management of the waste generated by industry, a lower price, 30% cheaper, which represents a saving of around 300,000 euros per year for each company in the beachhead market, and avoiding the contamination of the environment by harmful substances that may be generated in the degradation of the waste. Our product is PDMS, a silicon fluid from which all types of silicons are derived, but which itself has applications. The main key of our PDMS is that comes from a waste that currently has no value. We collect this waste generated by manufacturers and industries that use silicons and bring it to our facilities when we process it. The resulting product is packaged in 1-ton container and sold to distributors, who then sell it back to manufacturers to use our product as a replacement of virgin silicon. And in this way, we obtain a closed cycle. In accordance with our social responsibility, we will install the recycling plant in Famurca, a town in our province at the risk of depopulation. After several interviews with customers and suppliers, we were able to identify their main interest in our recycled silicon, and these are very competitive price in the market compared to the virgin silicon, but the possibility of obtaining the eco-label, appropriate treatment of the waste generated by them, and economic savings in the management of silicon waste generated by customers. As validation, we have sold 5 tons of recycled silicon, which means that these companies are interested in reducing cost. In terms of competition, we have found companies doing the same in the United States, China, and India, but no one in the European Union. Regarding financial data, we have made a 5-year scenario for our company in which it will serve 60 customers continuously, producing 10,000 tons of silicon per year. According to our production cost estimates, this will generate a profit of 11 million euros. The financial keys of our business model are based on the selling price of the product, the cost of production, and our production capacity. With our product, we have calculated that we will be able to reduce the carbon footprint compared to the virgin product by 70%. This high percentage is mainly due to the enormous energy consumption for the extraction and production of the virgin silicon, which is not necessary in the manufacturing process of the recycling silicon. According to our estimates, if we manage to reach 100% of our beachhead market, we will be saving to the planet about 4 million tons of CO2 per year. To put this in perspective, if we recycle the 600,000 tons that we generate annually in Europe, that would be equivalent to avoiding the deforestation of about 100 million adult pine trees. The KIMSIL team currently consists of my colleagues Aurora, Asier, and myself. Aurora is an industrial design engineer and will be in charge of the commercial and communication strategy. Asier is a chemical engineer and will be in charge of the technological part of the project. And I am chemical engineer and MBA, and I will be in charge of the business and financial management. Our dream as a team is that KIMSIL will be recognized worldwide as a leader in the circular economy in the silicon sector, recycling 10,000 tons per year by 2028 with a 4 million tons reduction of CO2 emissions. And we will create 100 new jobs. Thank you.
Well, now it's really time for you to have your value proposition speak for you. And we have Steven and Chris in the jury to ask you a question to start with. So I would like to start with Chris.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, then you will all have 3 minutes.
Great. Just you mentioned that one of the kind of key differentiators is the eco label. I'm just interested to understand how reliant is your sort of traction with customers on that and the process in terms of getting the certification for that.
Are you asking about the? Oh, sorry. Are you asking about the certifications and the regulations on the silicon?
About the eco label and the certification around that. Yeah.
Okay, there is a regulation about the monomers and other chemical products that the European Union has to regulate how the manufacturers can manage that kind of substances. In that way, we are aligned with the collaboration of our scientific park to accomplish all the certifications and the regulation about the ecological level. We will need to develop that level because there is no one now, and we need to try to manage it with our ministry and then with the European Union.
Oh, wow, thank you. Stephen, I believe you also had a question.
Yes, thank you for the... Hi. So thank you for the pitch. One question. So why is now the right timing to build this company and not maybe 5 or 10 years back or 5 or 10 years in the future?
Okay, it's now the moment. The silicon is the right moment because of silicon is a minority polymer in comparison with other polymers used like the polyethylene, polypropylene, that is more big the amount that we consume annually. The silicon represents the 0.5% of the plastic amount, but we began recycling the biggest amount, and then we are going to the lowest amount. In that way, this European Union needs also to preserve the raw materials that we have in the European Union instead of import raw materials from the outdoor. So in that way, there is fundings to promote the recycling of the silicons that we understood last year in the Amsterdam Congress, and the multinationals are very aligned with this.
Okay, thank you so much. I also have a very small question for Marianne. Marianne? Oh, that must be, then I must be mistaken. Well, thank you very much for your great questioning, Team Queen Seal, as well as Stephen and Chris. And now it's really time for our next startup. Next up is Team Rioforma.
Every year, building materials are responsible for 30% of all waste generated and 11% of emissions. By weight, it is the largest quantity of waste known to the human species. But what if I told you 44% of the construction sector's emissions could be avoided with circularity? Hi, my name is Manraj. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Rioforma, and we are making circular challenges of construction easy by transforming waste minerals. Currently, European circular statistics stand at 14%, and with 1.5 gigatons of minerals available, the deal is logical. Rioforma upgrades waste minerals into carbon-negative composites. We take minerals from contractors for €35 a ton, avoiding landfill, and we process it and sell it as cladding to real estate developers to fit out their buildings for a cost of €115 per metre squared. In doing so, they are able to cut the carbon of an average development by 390 tons of CO2. That's the equivalent of driving around the circumference of the Earth 75 times. And importantly, there is no change to existing practices of our customers. We are focusing our efforts where impact can be made quickly. Our beachhead market is the UK brick cladding sector. It's valued at around €173 million. And why brick slips? Well, it's a new market in the UK, and with no clear leader, it has also grown significantly. It aligns with the shift towards modular construction and net zero, all complying with the move towards clearer and greener regulation. So why are our customers going to buy our products? Managing embodied carbon is now driven by regulation and compliance. Of all the existing solutions on the market, there are none that can be carbon negative at scale. But beyond that, we are cheaper than the existing solutions, something that is key in an industry running on 3% margins. Now, Reformer breaks down minerals and then recombines the components in a unique recipe to create our value. We then use a carbon sponge and combine the mixture into this. We use CO2 to cure the material, and it is formed in a simple process at less than 100 degrees centigrade. The result is a carbon negative material that is durable and simplifies circularity, acting as a carbon capture and utilization and storage solution. Our process and prototypes are real. We expect to have a certified product by the end of 2025. Through our customer discovery, we conducted over 30 interviews with designers, developers, and contractors. From this, we found 3 critical learnings. Firstly, there's now a commercial drive to manage embodied carbon. Achieving net zero and complying with regulation is a key driver. And thirdly, cost is a key barrier to adopting new interventions. By the 5th year of our business, we forecast to sell our material to 20% of the market in the UK. That gives us approximately 40 customers, equating to 600,000 square meters of material and a profit of 26 million euros. Now, all of this has a direct impact on climate. At negative 20 kilos of CO2 per meter squared, we are making a saving of up to 500% carbon compared to the nearest highest carbon processes. We avoid 128 kilos of CO2 when we include the carbon emitted during the waste streams going to landfill. And based on our calculations, we can save 80,000 tons of CO2 per year and 100,000 tons of waste in year 5. So who are the Reformers? Well, we're a multidisciplinary team with over 20 years in developing construction materials from waste and over 10 years of experience in construction. I'm lucky enough to work with some of the greatest scientists around, and together, our dream is to be valorizing 1 million tons of waste and cut 1 million tons of CO2 by year 10. And that's just the start. We aim to be a leader in industrial waste valorization in the buildings market and go on to explore world global markets. Thank you for your time. We are Reformer, transforming today's waste into tomorrow's value.
Wow, your startup has presented a compelling case. I hope you are ready for the Q&A. We have Marianne ready for you to ask you your first question. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was really impressed by your pitch, which I already watched before, because it's a very attractive product. And I'm here in the Green Village working in the building sector. So I know how much carbon emissions are produced in the building sector. So this is a very nice product. My first question is the UK your main market?
I would say because geographically we're located in the UK, it would be our first market to enter. But the learnings from establishing the UK could easily transfer over Europe and eventually grow towards a global market.
Because what we see from the UK is that net zero, carbon negative, all this type of regulations are recently not anymore in the most of the regulations. So I was wondering whether that is an easy market to start, and then the only driver will be cost reduction. Because if you don't get any advantage of CO2 reduction, it's going to be a very difficult case.
I would say people aren't just measuring climate change on carbon these days. You're always still talking about an industry which contributes to 30% of global waste. And these businesses know that. Waste is a problem for them. There's a competitive edge for businesses to compete, reducing their waste, but also reducing their carbon too. So whether the regulation changes or not, I think there's an overall general push for people to manage carbon. And honestly, we haven't seen much change in the way people are approaching us in response to these changes in regulation. They're still very keen to be active in this space. But entirely correct, maybe even Europe with the recent changes would be a better place to start potentially. But geographically,
it's a positive message from the UK, which we haven't seen so far. So what you are saying now makes me happy.
Good.
Thank you very much for your. Thank you very much indeed for your answer. Now it's then time to continue and go to Brian. Brian, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, can you talk more about the transformation process from the waste to the end product? If there's any differentiated technology you have, what differentiates you? Any barriers to entry? So if you create a process, do you expect competition, people doing the similar types of things?
Certainly. So from the production process, all of the unique aspects and abilities are in the recombination. So recombining and activating construction waste materials to be functional fillers in composites, especially carbon negative ones. And then I think, was your next question in regards to regulation? Was or if someone else enters the market?
Yeah, in terms of barriers to entry.
Sure.
So is this a technologically difficult process, or can other people replicate what you do?
I would say.
Okay, saved by the bell. This was really already the 3 minutes. I think you've really done your homework and you're ready to make some impact. So keep up the good work. And for now, it's time to continue and go to our first pitch. But before we do that, I would also like to thank Marianne and Brian, of course, for the great questioning. Let's keep the energy high as we are already going to the last pitch of this first set. I would like to, to invite Yuan Control.
Hi everyone, I'm Sebastian, CEO and co-founder of Yuan Control. We developed an intelligent and predictive heating control system to optimize district heating networks and firstly increase their network capacity by about 25%. This means that we reduce energy consumption and also CO2 emissions by 25%. Secondly, we reduce peak loads, which usually require fossils. And thirdly, we unlock real-time data and efficient monitoring of the entire system and therefore allow to manage the system efficiently. In a typical transaction, we sell our solution to the district heating network installers. So this is about 50 control units, so for 50 houses, for a total amount of 100,000 euros. In addition to that one-off fee, which is for the hardware, we charge 5,000 euros per year, 5,000 euros per year for the software as a licensing fee. This is a smaller example of a district heating network, and we just recently have equipped exactly one of this size. Our beachhead market consists of small to medium-sized networks and is about 250 million across Switzerland and Germany. And we aim to reach 20% of it by 2028. Potential across our main markets, this is Switzerland, Germany, Austria, Sweden, and Denmark as a priority 1 markets, is almost 900 million euros. On the customer value proposition, our heating control system reduces energy consumption across a network by about 25%. This does not only reduce overall costs, which are quite essential with around 80,000 euros for an average size district heating network per year, but it also addresses the main challenges utility providers have, which are capacity, which are peak loads, and the availability of data. Here on this slide, you see our product kit consisting of a heating control unit, a high efficiency pump, a web app, and sensors. And of course, we do also provide a dashboard for the operator of the system where we can remotely manage the entire system. And what makes us unique in the market is that we know the thermal dynamics of each building by creating a digital twin based on the data we collect, for example, with the high efficiency pump, with the sensor, but we also source additional data. And based on this, we can optimize automatically across the entire network. And we are the only provider who can do that. The magic is simply said that we can predict the required heating energy and can therefore plan and optimize. On customer discovery, we interviewed more than 30 potential customers to understand their pain points and requirements on a heating and control system. We also did a beta test in about 16 houses and are in the meantime installed in more than 100 houses. We have also equipped the first complete district heating network, and we are in another pilot project, and we'll actually launch together an offering and with the largest utility provider in Switzerland, and we are in more than 10 conversations with leading utility providers in Switzerland. On the financials, an average sale leads to about 100,000 euros in revenue and about 30,000 euros in profit. In 2028, we will sell in this year to about 10% of our beachhead market. Until 2028, we will have achieved about 20% in total of our beachhead market, according to our current planning. The key drivers are number and size of projects and cost management in the background. This year, we are on track to achieve 100K revenues, and in order to finance our ambitious growth, we are currently fundraising and aim to raise 1 million euros in Q1 2024 and have about 20% of it already self-committed. On climate impact, we have a market-ready solution to reduce energy consumption in houses by about 25% until 2028, and by achieving our targets in our beachhead market, we save 31,000 tons of CO2 emissions. On the team, we are a multidisciplinary team covering industry experience, technical expertise, and business. The team is also supported by an advisory board consisting of advisors with R&D background, with industry knowledge and network, and we all have a common ambition and aim to sustainably reduce heating-related CO2 emissions by 25%. Thank you very much. We are grateful that we can be part of this year's program, and I'm very much looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Just another outstanding pitch. I'm very curious to learn more about your vision, mission, ambition, the feasibility. And therefore, I would like to give the word to our jury. And today, for this pitch, we have Chris and Stephen. I believe we begin with Stephen. So Stephen, please. Oh, no. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Yes, it is. Thank you for the great pitch. So very interesting, because like most people really think about the electric part always, but not about the heating and thermal parts. I'm very familiar with this topic. But why do you solve this challenge? So how did you get into that? You, but also you as a team.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Thanks. So the background is from ETH, from one of the universities in Switzerland. So one of my co-founders developed the algorithm there. He's covering the technical part. The third co-founder, he's from the energy industry. And actually, when these two guys met, they came up with that idea. I mean, how old-fashioned the current systems are when it comes to optimization of heating. And that's where it all began a couple of years ago. I joined a bit later as a late co-founder. And I'm overlooking the business part.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, and Chris, I would...
Yeah, and maybe you could just clarify, this is a sort of predominantly retrofit rather than new, or maybe you can clarify that. But the follow-up question is I'd love for you just to unpack a little bit more commercial assumptions behind the figure and the sort of the price point that you got to in terms of new adoption and the feasibility around that. Thank you.
Sure. So we have two applications. One is we can equip new district heating networks, but we also can upgrade existing ones. We are in conversations with leading utility providers on both of these use cases. Also, the upgrading existing ones is a huge thing. For them, it's a business case if we achieve 10% in efficiency. And so we are promising conversations there. On the financials, we provide it as an all-in-one kit. We sell it for about 2,000 euros, the entire kit, that's per house. And usually the utility provider pays for that. So if you build a new system, you anyway need to purchase the heating control system, and there we are very competitive in terms of pricing. And on the market size, if that was the second question, I mean, I think we took quite conservative assumptions on our beachhead market. Just putting our revenue targets in relation, we have revenue targets over the next 5 years of in total 50 million. That's 25,000 houses. I mean, and we only look at two markets, it's Switzerland and Germany. So putting that in relation with the potential out there, I mean, that's nothing. It's below 1% of buildings that are currently connected to district heating networks.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. Also, thank you very much to our jury members. And these were already, well, the first set of pitches of 4. Time really flies. In a bit, we will be back with you with the next round of pitches. You all did an amazing job. Thank you, and I would like to see you in 5 minutes. Yes, and the time is here to start with the last set of pitches. Here we go again. Please have a look at Team Sanspoor.
Dutch greenhouses are amongst the most efficient and technologically advanced greenhouses in the world. The industry is constantly improving to produce affordable and high-quality produce for everyone. However, farmers' most relentless enemy to this day are the fungi, which damage their crops and reduce yield. The Dutch greenhouse sector spends over 5 billion euros annually combating fungi. To make the environment in the greenhouses less hospitable for the fungi, farmers decrease the humidity, but this requires a lot of energy and also decreases crop yield. Additionally, in recent years, it has become clear that the pesticide runoff into our natural water systems can cause damage to our environment and human health. The EU also recognizes this problem and is investing billions with the European Green Deal to halve the pesticide use by 2030. Sanspoor will offer machine learning empowered sensoring devices that monitor the presence of fungi spores in the greenhouses. Using our product, we're able to determine when spores are present in the greenhouse, and we can instruct the farmers to use pesticides only in the instances when it's necessary. When our product senses that there is no threat from fungi, the farmer can increase the humidity and lower air conditioning costs. This brings the additional benefit that many crops grow better at high humidity, and it's therefore expected to increase the crop yield for the farmer. With our product, we are targeting the polluting greenhouse business in the Netherlands. They use humongous amounts of energy to air condition and dehumidify their greenhouses, and much of the pesticides that they use end up in the groundwater, which provides a hazard for human and environmental health. Sanspoor can help reduce the 30,000 gigawatt hours spent on electricity in Dutch greenhouses annually, and will also help decrease the 5,000 tons of pesticides used in the Netherlands every year. The Sanspoor device will initially be available to the farmer for €155 per device. With this, we will offer them the real-time insights from our machine learning model so that they can accurately respond to the fungi fluctuations in their greenhouse. The model will continue learning as we are able to collect more data from the participating greenhouses as we increase our outreach. By selling the products to the farmers and integrating the Sanspoor device into their workflow, it is expected that we'll be able to achieve a 70% decrease in the electricity and pesticide consumption of a greenhouse. To get these numbers, we have done prior customer discovery and have contact with many independent greenhouses and their farmers. They helped us develop the key selling points of our device and indicated to have a great need for a device that would allow them to become more sustainable and keep the humidity in their greenhouses high. During this customer discovery, we have been in contact with a selection of greenhouses that is interested in testing with our pilot product when we are further along with the prototyping phase of this endeavor. To finance it, we are starting with a product price of €155. Selling our devices initially will allow us to start collecting data as soon as possible and to power the machine learning aspect of our product. When we have more capital and more data to work with, we intend to switch this to a subscription-based model. And then, to the final and most important slide. The beachhead market that we will first implement our device in is the strawberry greenhouse market. The strawberry is an especially fungi-prone crop, which greatly benefits from having high humidity in the greenhouse. Additionally, strawberries are very porous and absorb a lot of water, and with it, pesticides. When you're eating a strawberry, you're eating a small pesticide bomb, even after washing it thoroughly. Therefore, this is the perfect market to target first. From our calculations, we found that in Dutch strawberry greenhouses, we can already save about 15 million kilograms of carbon dioxide emissions and more than 100,000 kilos of pesticides that leach into our environment. Even this step will have a great impact on the carbon emissions of a greenhouse and a great improvement for the groundwater contamination in the Netherlands. This is our team with a diverse educational and professional background. With our combination of skills, we have the expertise in-house to make your greenhouses greener and your food healthier. Thank you for your attention during this pitch.
Wow, one of the Dutch contestants. I'm very proud to have you here. Yes, it's time already for the jury, and we will start with Brian.
Great, thanks. So very interesting product. I didn't really realized we had a fungi problem with our produce. But anyway, I'm curious in the prototype and where you are. So have you actually tested already that you have sensors that can pick up spores? And just curious in terms of, the prototype, how confident you are that you can actually deliver this product?
Hi, Brian. Thanks for the question. So right now we are working on a prototype because we're really developing one of the last missing components, which is almost, you can imagine it as a filter to our sensor. And after that, we are pretty confident that we're going to be able to detect the spores, because then it's just a matter of kind of taking a picture. So right now we're focusing on building this filter, which is going to be essential into making a functional device.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Marianne, this is the second time that you see this team, but I believe you still have some questions for them. So please.
Yeah, I myself, I'm a graduate from Wageningen Agriculture University, and I know that fungi is a big problem in agriculture, like Phytophthora in tomatoes. My big surprise is that in your whole team you have any agricultural experts, no horticulture experts. Why not?
Yeah, so I think right now we're really focusing on developing the sensor and the algorithm behind it, because the majority of detecting it is going to be the algorithm behind it. And that's why we really came up with this idea, because the majority of our team studies or has studied mathematics. And so we really came up with the idea of thinking about the algorithm. Now we're working on developing the sensor, but I'm sure that once we put it in greenhouses and make it functioning, and then we will definitely bring someone on board with more agricultural experience. We've already
because you make some very firm statements that it's better for some crops to have a high humidity, while that's not the case for all crops.
Yes. No, we know.
So all these firm statements, I think it's very good to have some really good experts in the team.
Yes, we have had quite a lot of conversations with farming consultants already that have advised us, and also with interviewing a lot of potential customers. That's really been our source of information.
Okay, thank you. And Claire, do you allow me for a second question?
Yes, if you want, a very quick one.
Yeah, the other thing I would like to ask you is about, are you already in contact with the big greenhouse builders? In the Netherlands, the greenhouse sector is a very famous sector.
And that we will have to end with a yes or a no.
So some
a yes or a no, Francesco?
Some big greenhouse companies, yes.
Okay, great. And that's a wrap. Impressive line of questioning, jury, and both of you, well done. I'm very much looking forward to go to the next contestants. And yeah, to be, again, very proud, actually, because it's also a Dutch contestants. Please, I would like you to have a look at Team Simple Energy.
Hi, everyone. Let me start by explaining that this is not a map of the weather codes in the Netherlands recently. No, this is a different, maybe even more alarming map. It shows in red and orange where the Dutch electricity grid is all clogged up and reaching its limits. Meaning that it is almost impossible to get a new grid connection or an extension of your current grid connection. The result is that the electrification of the Netherlands is losing its momentum, which we cannot afford in these times. We are Simple Energy, and we want to help avoid delays in the electrification of the Netherlands. So how does our solution look like? Well, we're making a predictive energy management system, which is a software product. Starting from the left, we will sell this product as a service to energy asset owners and installers. And usually, this is our only customer. Think, for example, of large solar systems. But sometimes, the asset installer works together with other end users. The middle party can then use our product to service other end users. And this basically makes our product a white label solution, allowing energy asset owners to brand it as their proprietary energy management system. We request an annual licensing fee of approximately 20,000 euros per project. This fee is supported by comprehensive simulations and studies that demonstrate the system's worth. Our initial target market is energy asset installers, as previously explained, with a specific focus on energy assets deployed at distribution centers. We've chosen distribution centers as our primary target because the last mile delivery industry is experiencing rapid growth. Yet, it faces significant energy consumption challenges. Grid congestion issues have led to delays in many projects within the sector. Consequently, the companies responsible for electrifying distribution centers are also encountering obstacles in installing vital assets, such as solar panels and electric vehicle charging stations. This situation jeopardizes their ability to carry out their core business functions effectively. Our software product offers two key advantages. First, we assert that our solution improves your current grid infrastructure's efficiency by up to 60%, as shown in the left graph. This not only conserves energy, but also reduces cost. Simultaneously, by optimizing grid connections and electricity prices, you can expect an additional 40% boost in revenues compared to your current situation. This is in a nutshell how our predictive energy management platform looks like. And let's walk through here based on an example. Consider the distribution center we were talking about. The first thing that we do is, we retrieve the data from the solar panel inverters, EV charging stations, and other assets which are located on site. We store this data, we clean it up as well, and we combine it with third-party data, such as weather forecast and market data. Based on all this data, we can make forecasts. So imagine that we can forecast that at 3 p.m. all the vehicles for delivery are returning to base. This will result in a huge electricity demand peak. If we know that this peak occurs, and we also know, for example, that electricity prices are very low in the next morning, we can develop an optimal scheme. We buy, for example, electricity in the morning with the battery, we further fill the battery with the solar energy during the day, and then we discharge the battery during the electricity demand peak, and effectively reducing the peak. And all it results is pushing the schemes back to the assets that are on site. We have decent customer traction over the past 8 months. We've only started in March, but we already have quite some customers. Currently, we have a backlog of 36 customers, while we have 11 NDAs or LOEs signed. We are actively participating in 2 innovation projects, and we have 4 paying customers at the moment. Our financial model shows that we can reach a revenue of up to 27 million euros per year in the Netherlands alone. And this is being constructed as follows. A study shows that the market size of the Netherlands is at least 9,500. We also think that a market share of 50% is reasonable for us, resulting in 1,350 paying customers. If we multiply this by the 20,000 euros per project, we end up with 27 million of revenues per year. In addition to supporting a sustainable business, our primary goal is to cut down on CO2 emissions. Recently, the Dutch authorities released a report indicating that the implementation of smart energy management systems by all Dutch companies could lead up to a 20% reduction in emissions. Using this figure in conjunction with our estimation of serving 1,350 projects, we anticipate a yearly reduction of 82,000 metric tons of CO2, which is roughly equivalent to planting 4.2 million trees. This is our dream team of Simple Energy, and I couldn't be more happy with my co-founders. We have the right experiences, and we're all extremely dedicated to make this a success. We are Simple Energy, and with our software product, the electrification of the Netherlands can accelerate.
Wow, thank you for this great pitch, which of course is recorded. I would like to continue and go to Steven.
So thanks for the great pitch. Can you elaborate a bit more on, so because a grid connection is a very formal process, right? For most of like the companies, really like on applying for it, certifying for it, and so on. So the question I have is, there's value in the solution, but is actually the grid connection the major value proposition? Can you elaborate a bit more on that?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Currently, I would say it's a small part of the business value. Like they all have, of course, their biggest business value is that they can extend and that they can do more within their current grid connection. But what at least we're seeing in the Netherlands right now is that the grid connection costs are rapidly increasing. So from 2022 to 2023, there was a price increase of 50% on your grid cost alone. And for next year, they've already announced that it will be another 20 to 30%. And actually, the expected values for the years after are even more doubling. So it will become a major fact or major part of their business proposition or business value. And we are currently also simulating and calculating that if you place a battery, you can almost earn the battery back behind the meter based on the savings on grid connections over the coming 10 years.
Thank you. Maybe like one last question, if that's possible. Why do you like focus it on Netherlands only?
So as we see it, well, we're Netherlands based, of course. And as we see it, the Netherlands actually running into the electrification problems ahead of the other countries a little bit. We have a lot of charging stations and solar panels per head in the Netherlands. And we think that the other countries will follow in 2 or 3 years. And so we are really focused. Oh, sorry.
No, that's a very good answer already. Start small and grow big. And therefore, I would like to go for our next jury member, Marianne, to ask you the following question.
Yeah, I'm also very impressed by your idea. I already saw you in the national finals, and I was very much in favor of your idea. Your name is Simple Energy, and indeed it's quite simple. You want to create more insight, and by doing so you want to help to optimize the companies their energy use. I strongly believe that there's not only a business-to-business market in this, but also for consumers, because we have so many households having so many products, so many machines. And are you also looking at that market? And in particular then in the Netherlands, we look at the whole electrification because of charging of electric cars, which are a lot of households are doing. Is that also a market for you?
Oh, well, and again, this can also only be a yes or a no answer. So
no, Claire, come on.
Really, then we need to speed up the questioning. So yes or no?
Yes, but later on the roadmap.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. We really have a very strict time limit. I'm very sorry for it, but I will try to help you and push you a little bit with the questioning more up at the beginning, Marianne, also to give you more chance to get a decent answer. Let's go without further ado to our next contestant, which is Team Deep Dissolve.
Platinum group metals are everywhere, from catalytic converters to factories that make your plastics and fuel, and soon in hydrogen fuel cells. Yet they're exceedingly rare, and even harder to process. Despite the low volumes, mining these materials produces 10 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent and consumes 114 billion litres of water a year, from some of the most water-scarce regions in the world. This is totally counterproductive to their application in pollution management and clean electricity. If we are to have an equitable green energy transition, the impact of sourcing these materials must be reduced. So how do we do that? Deep Dissolve produces highly effective solvents for any feedstock, but our beachhead is in platinum group metal recycling. We will sell our solvent at cost to recyclers, and in return we ask for a 5% profit share, and we will take back and compost the solvents, which are biodegradable. We intend to beachhead with small recycling firms, principally based in the UK. Despite being a relatively small market, the revenue and margins are significant and expected to increase with the adoption of fuel cells and electrolyzers. We then intend to apply this technology to the mining sector, which desperately needs better processing methods if we are to have a truly green energy transition. Today, water-based chemistry, or hydrometallurgy, is used to separate platinum group metals from the waste and each other. With our solvent, it's more expensive than the mixture of acids currently employed, but you need far less of it, 83% less to be precise. And these solvents can also be used with the same equipment as the hydro method, meaning you can process more scrap with less solvent and less equipment, leading to an 18% increase in operating profits. So how do our solvents work? Well, that's a secret. But I can tell you about how we constantly improve them. We run a research loop of automated screening experiments, optimizations, and molecular analysis to generate new leads for each round of screening. And each round produces better solvents than the last. This process can also be applied to other valuable materials, such as rare earth metals and device metals. There is currently no good recycling options for any of these, and they're still emergent. But their use will expand significantly due to their use in renewable technologies. And when they do, Deep Dissolve will be there to find the best solvent to make sure that the green energy transition does not cost the Earth. There are significant opportunities in both the mining and recycling sectors for these solvents. In particular, the upcoming Digital Product Passport legislation is a potential threat to water-intensive mining operations in South Africa and Southeast Asia. Adopting water-saving processes could mitigate this risk. While in the recycling sector, the Critical Raw Materials Act presents a significant opportunity for funding for radically new recycling technologies. We will run year-long supply agreements where we will ask for 5% of the projected profits for that financial year, in addition to the cost of the solvents. This is a deep tech venture, so the growth trajectory to begin with is a little slow, but we hope to grow these profits as we take on the mining industry and other verticals. The main advantage of these solvents is the reduction in water consumption. Each year, one customer switching to our solvents saves enough drinking water for 313 people, and the energy costs will be reduced by about 40%. While this may not sound like a lot, when scaled to the mining industry or other verticals, the potential water and energy savings are substantial. So who are we? My name is Enrico Manfredi Haylock, and I'm a final year PhD student with a background in battery recycling. For the moment, I'm the sole founder and scientist, but there's no I in team, even if it's just a team of one. I have some fantastic advisors and mentors who are listed below me. By 2050, we aim to make renewably sourced biosolvents the new gold standard for resource extraction and processing, to reduce the environmental cost of obtaining the resources that we need. Recycling platinum group metals is the first step on our path to get there. After validating our commercial model, we aim to move to the mining industry and build a biosynthesis plant for our solvents. We are currently looking for co-founders and potential investors, so we hope that you will join us on our mission to provide the critical minerals that the green energy transition needs without costing the Earth. Thank you.
Wow, Chris, I hope you are ready for some single founder power, as the first question is for you.
Yeah, thank you. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on the business model and specifically around the profit share arrangement and whether you've got any validation against potential customers for that?
Sure. So the business model would be a 5% share of the materials sold, and the idea is that they can produce more materials with less solvent. So the costs would be lower overall for the business, and we would probably cut in a little bit into that margin, but they would still be making more money overall. In terms of validation, this has actually just been calculated based on a pilot plant that recycles membrane electrode assemblies using the hydrometallurgical method at a scale of 400 kilograms a day. And we calculated that it should result in about 18% increase in operating profits, which is why we take 5% out of that to scale the business further.
Thank you. Your next question will come from Brian. Brian?
Great. So everything you read tells you that there's not enough raw materials to get us to this green place we need to be unless you recycle. So I think the concept is great. Can you go further on the technology and, the process to separate the platinum from other materials and, how far advanced you are in terms of proving that out? And two, if that is the case, is that a patented process that you can do to make sure that you guys have an exclusive in terms of this type of technology?
Sure. I can't go too in depth about this because we are actually looking into a patent at the moment. Essentially, it's a screening process which will look across many different types of solvents and arrive to a singular best solvent for each element in your waste stream. So it can separate platinum from rhodium, from holmium, etc. And then we can also patent the solvents, specifically the effective solvent. And the idea is that the discovery loop keeps on running so that there's lots of IP generated from the underlying process, but the underlying process itself is also IP. So yes, we're looking into that.
Wow.
So just to be clear, so it's just a screening process. So the solvents will be off the shelf that someone else produces.
They will be out of chemicals which aren't too widely used at the moment. So we're looking into whether we want to manufacture them in-house or, well, and when we scale up, we'll probably look into partnering with manufacturers in order to make them.
Great, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Great dialogue. And we are ready. It's already time for our last contestants. So please, I would like you to meet Team MADA Analytics.
My name is Danny Gappel, CEO and co-founder of MADA, here to explain how our liquid air energy storage solution provides both long-duration storage and 100% CO2 capture. In our deal, we supply our design and innovation to leading power equipment providers such as Siemens or GE and global EPC engineering companies, who then construct our energy storage system at an average cost of 2,500 euros per kilowatt installed. MADA's revenue from this on average is 100 euros per kilowatt installed. Our beachhead market is California, which is made up of approximately 660 megawatts of gas and diesel engine generation. 30% of that market represents 32 million euros in revenue. By 2030, 30% share of the global market for engines of over 15,000 megawatts would be 550 million in revenue. By 2033, a 25% share of the total global market for both gas engines and gas turbines, which is over 200,000 megawatts, would represent nearly 5 billion euros. Our aim is to deliver an affordable long-duration storage that also captures 100% CO2 emissions from gas power plant exhaust. When comparing on a levelized cost of storage for a 10-hour system, liquid air compared to lithium ion from scales of 30 megawatts up to 200 megawatts are significantly cheaper, starting at 20% cheaper for 30 megawatt systems, going up to 90% at a scale of 200 megawatts. Additional benefits are that we capture 100% of the CO2 emissions, and using the cold temperature, we're able to improve fuel efficiency and gas turbine power output. In this diagram, we demonstrate our US-approved patent of innovation and product process. At the upper left-hand corner, we have energy generated from clean renewable sources like wind and solar. This electricity is put onto the grid and can then be stored as liquid air when drawn off the grid. The electricity taken off the grid powers a compressor and a cooling process, bringing the air down to a temperature of minus 160 degrees Celsius. This liquid air is then stored in tanks. When the energy is required to be put back on the grid, both the liquid air and the gas plant operate to generate electricity. The cold liquid air travels through piping, expanding back into air until it is superheated by the final heat exchanger, which was initially heated by 500 degrees of waste heat from the gas plant. The liquid air exits as high pressure, high temperature air, which then turns a turbine to generate electricity back onto the grid. On the gas plant side, the exhaust of the gas plant also travels through piping, heating the first heat exchanger, and while continuing to travel and cool down, reaching its final heat exchanger, which was supercooled by the liquid air, at a temperature of minus 70 degrees Celsius, the CO2 sublimates and freezes as dry ice, which we can then remove while running parallel heat exchangers. The result is clean, green energy being stored and put back on the grid, and green exhaust coming out of the gas plant. After speaking with over 20 utilities, power equipment, and engineering companies, we learned that our core customers are the EPC engineering companies. This is the best method for us selling to our end users of IPPs and utility companies. We also learned that based on our method of CO2 capture, there's a huge demand for clean CO2 in desalination plants and the food industry. We discovered that our ideal beachhead market is California due to new regulations which require CO2 reduction for gas and diesel engines. There are no solutions in the market today for sizes less than 20 megawatts. With a beachhead of 660 megawatts, capturing 30% of that market, which would be 200 megawatts, at 160,000 euros per megawatt installed, this represents 32 million euros. And with a 50% gross margin, our profits would be 16 million euros. Achieving our beachhead market goal, our impact would ultimately reduce 260,000 tons of CO2 per year. You can see on the bar chart on the right, MADA's LAGT liquid air gas turbine of 100 megawatt in size would offset 13,300 tons of CO2 per year. Our two-sided impact offsets 7,300 tons of CO2 with CO2 capture from gas exhaust, and another 6,000 from our clean energy storage with no emissions. These calculations are based off of the Energy Information Agency in the US and S&P Market Intelligence. We're a multidisciplinary team with decades of experience in the field of energy storage, thermal processing, and new IP. Our dream is to capture 5 million tons of CO2 per year for a cleaner future for our children and yours. Thank you.
Wow, I'm curious to learn more about this value proposition. Marianne, you're up.
Yes, I was trying to really understand the technique behind it. I was wondering I didn't understand really why you need the heat exchangers, but I think now you explain again, maybe I do understand, but are you using gas installations, fossil fuel gas to work, to let the heat exchangers work?
Yeah, so it's a very good question, and it shouldn't be confused. In the future trajectory in all grids across the world, so both the United States and Europe, natural gas will be required through the entire energy transition. It has to give the backup, and it has to give the stability for unstable renewables, even with battery storage. So what we're doing is we are delivering a solution that impacts the main infrastructure, the main cause of CO2, where we store renewable energy with liquid air, and in the interplay of temperature. So when the exhaust of the gas plant is heating a heat exchanger, it is heating the liquid air. So it causes the liquid air to go from a minus 160 to plus 400. And this massive temperature pressure of air is driving a turbine. So there's this interplay of both of them. So the heat exchangers work on the heating of the liquid air, and the heat exchanger that's cooled works on freezing dry ice of the CO2 from the exhaust. So we extract 100% CO2 from the exhaust pure. It's not mixed with other contaminants, because CO2 freezes at approximately minus 70 degrees Celsius. So we have to have these parallel heat exchangers working in process, and when we extract the CO2, they're continual heat exchangers.
Yeah, so my advice would be in your marketing to explain that very well, because for me, being an engineer, it was not immediately clear. So I think it's important that you explain it well. Okay. Now I understand. Thank you.
Okay, some little room for improvement. Thank you very much for your comments. The next question is from Steven.
Hey, Danny, thanks. Jumping from technology more to the commercial side, how can you elaborate a bit on how you want to fund this and also commercialize it, right? Because there are like opportunities out there which needs to go big or go home kind of things, right? And how do you see like your business in this funding commercialization?
So I was going to just share with you that here on this slide, what we've done with our pilot projects, they're coming from both grant sides in the United States. Our first market is in California with Indian Energy, and we've also begun a pilot project with Siemens Energy in the Ministry of Energy in Israel to get the pilot projects brought to market, to get all the engineering, what's called wrapped. It must be, through feasibility and tested at pilot stages. We're bringing in government support grants and also private funding for these initial first of a kind projects.
Thank you so much, because we're really nearing the end. It's a wrap for today. These were the 8 pitches of today. Well, very well done, team, and very well done, jury. I think we've seen a lot of great ideas and initiatives come by, and I want to thank you very much for it. I believe the jury has a very tough decision to make, and they will get some time to do the deliberation. So we will be back to you in 5 minutes with a next part of the program. But for now, please enjoy a 5-minute break.
We can't hear you. Hello? Perfect. Thank you. No. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Hi, welcome back. While the jury is still deliberating, we would like to make the most out of this opportunity to tap into the expertise of our partner, the Bank of America. Today with us is Katharina Kort, Head of EMEA Sustainable Asset Finance, Managing Director, Global Sustainable Finance Group, who will give us a little tour about the money landscape. Katharina, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Maybe I just give a little bit, which we call our elevator speech, which you all should have as well, but I give you my little elevator speech specifically for Bank of America with regards to responsible growth. But before I want to launch into that, I just want to kind of say what we're going to talk about today. Specifically, we're going to talk in relation to what you have been doing, is how we look at financing, or how one should look a little bit in the context of financing also for the VCs and where to get money from. But let's step back to Bank of America. When we look at Bank of America, the work we do as a bank is really very much also seen in terms of the communities we serve and the needs of the society. And that's really embedded in our operations. And I think people in Europe don't see that as much, because in the US, we are one of the biggest retail banks, and we serve a lot of different types of communities. So really, the communities and then effectively our clients are at the heart of what we do. And Brian Moynihan talks about that in the sense of responsible growth. But let me just give you a few examples, right? So in the end, responsible growth is really helping our clients to be successful. In order to help our clients to be successful, the teammates in the bank kind of have also to be successful or happy. So what we want is really, we see ourselves as a strength builder in the communities. And if we can do that, then people will come back to us. And that should also be good for our shareholders. And one of the areas which, especially in the last 2 years, has become much more prominent is the question around environmental sustainability. And in the US, this word is definitely more negatively placed than here, but we had to really mobilize capital in the bank. So make a dedicated approach in terms of saying, what do we want to do as a bank to be more sustainable? And for example, things such as our operational impact, where we have CO2 emissions or pollution as a bank, and what we can make as a bank ourselves. How we manage the climate risks. So yes, we are a big gas and fossil fuel finance company, but our clients also want the other part, and we need to integrate sustainability into our business as well. And what do we lend money to, or what we do and advise people to doing. And so really, it's a question of partnership. I think that's what a lot of people always think, oh, the bad banks, they do whatever they want. It's actually slightly different. We would say we do responsible growth for our clients, and especially for the people which entrust us with their money. So when you look at what we have managed to do, and just a little bit, I mean, we have like kind of a balance sheet place where we try to deploy capital in the sustainability space. We're one of the big issuers of sustainability-linked bonds or green bonds. And we have done a lot of philanthropy as well, like in the last year alone, more than 29 million. So overall, we are trying to do as much as possible as a bank as we potentially can to deploy capital in the sector and be philanthropic. And that's really where the Climate-KIC fits in, right? So part of this philanthropic engagement, we have been asked, several managing directors have been asked to support this activity, which we're seeing now with you. And this is the 3rd year. So we hope we learn something from how Climate-KIC is successful. And at some point, the best outcome would be if any of your companies will be able to reach into our banking network and ask for services which we can provide, be it a client as a bank account in the US because you have gone abroad, or even more ambitious, being a unicorn, which needs financing to find, for example, equity partners or debt partners. But that's really a little bit the background of where we are coming from with our philanthropic activity on this Kickstart program, or Climate-KIC program. But today I wanted to actually speak about something slightly different. And this is really at the heart of what I've been doing in the last year, 2 years, since we have this division, is to share with you what I think a lot of people don't really know or not really focus on, especially VCs. We have the European Union, and you see this massive chart here, and I won't go through everything, but I want to remind you. The EU has done something which is quite unique for the EU. They have made money available, and they have dedicated that money really trying to say, we want to support the transition. And this, what you see here, the big pots, and I won't go into exactly all the monies or whatever, but there are lots of the big pots. But this is the pot for agriculture, which is 291 billion. And this is the pot for development finance. So, and this is the pot for new things. So I think the main takeaway here is new things is not so small anymore, right? And the new things, the words which I would like you to remember when you think for your business, how you want to even grow from a tiny, tiny idea to a big business, you at some point need money. And there are two areas within that big blobs on the screen, which come out of the bottom one, is the Innovation Fund and the Invest EU Fund. Now we'll talk a little bit about this now. Basically, you will have the presentation, but when you look, for example, at Germany, if for these various funds, 18 billion has been allocated. So it's it's 20 billion if you round it upwards. And there are lots of different countries which have pockets of money available in addition to the general budgets. So why is that important? It's because when you look at the Innovation Fund, which is an EU grant, big companies can apply, right? So, and small companies can apply, but also really small companies can apply. So under 7.5 million, which I've highlighted here. And it can also be, I've seen the lists, it can be under 50,000. So why do I think it's important for you guys to kind of think about that? Is A, money has been available, and B, not many people really know how these applications work. I discussed with Claire before, and one of the things is your elevator pitch has to kind of fit the objective. So what I laid out here is basically saying, try to find on the EU website, even if it is, on the Innovation Fund, if your program fits in a category, which either is an objective or the type of receipt. So if I just come back to the page, I know that I'm not going to read out everything, but at the EU websites, you will find this. And so when I look at it, I have here a little how to apply, but the one thing you need to remember, Innovation Fund, funding and tender portals. And if you look at that, it will take you a really long time to find where you can apply. And I would say if it takes you 2 weeks, that's a good outcome, because we looked a long time to find these various portals. But that's really what it takes. Once you know what you want to apply for, and your objective of your firm meets somehow the objective of the money, then applying for it is actually the not so hard part. It's actually finding the right words from your project to meet the project of the EU. So that's an example of the Innovation Fund. Then we also have the Just Transition Fund. So that's the third word or fourth word I want you to remember. So we had like tender portals, Innovation Fund, and the Just Transition Fund. And why is Just Transition Fund different? It's because it's national governments and local authorities which are relevant to these tender portals. Again, they have been money allocated. They go for actually also very small grants. And there you could apply, for example, I'm German, so to a Germany grant. So you would have to go to the Berlin website to the tender portal, but it also could be in Bavaria, where I'm from. So the Bavarian local government would disperse money. So this is, again, coming back to the overall picture. They have made 8.45 billion available, plus another 11 billion from something else. They will have lots of big projects, but every single project name here, every single fund has an allocation of about 5 to 10% for VCs. So again, the message, take your time, try to find something which matches to your funding needs if you have any. So finally, there's another one called Invest EU, which is specifically targeted at small, medium-sized enterprises. And that again works slightly different. Just again, it's the EIB group, which is a banking group. It's funded by the EU. And so here, that is the word you need to remember. So the EIB group might not do VCs as much, but they provide very small loans as well for specific objectives. So when I recap, I've got a few examples here, very big examples and small, a little bit smaller examples, but I wanted to show you the breadth of different projects which have been done. And coming back finally, if we summarize where we are, so what I want you to remember is you have an idea, match the idea kind of with the clients you want to serve. It's kind of important to have that. How does your product and your client match? And give the EU or whoever who you want to apply to the feeling that what is your differentiation? We call it a USP. What's your strengths and weaknesses? And then if you have that in your mind, you can look for these financial frameworks, which I have here at the bottom, and try to make an application. But overall, I think the one area when I look at discussions we've had with VCs, please don't underestimate how much time it takes to actually release funding. Your idea is one thing. The second thing is finding the clients who actually want to buy your products for whatever. But the third area is to find funding. And it sounds kind of cliche, but if it's 60 to 70% of your time, once you've formulated your idea, that is not a small amount of time to find funding, even if it comes in incremental steps. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today. And I hope that kind of gives you a framework of hope to say there's actually a lot of money out there. And frankly, from my experience, even for very sizable projects, which I do, we have too few projects. There are very few good ideas which are communicated well or well enough to actually provide funding. So communication and not giving up by trying to find funding is really the two things I see, and I would give kind of as a message out here. Back to questions.
Thank you very much also for the encouragement for these startups to give them some power to apply for these grants. And also, yeah, this is always a little bit of a black box for the startups. And I think you really gave some very great insights. You already elaborated a little bit on the pitfalls, but also do you see any common misconceptions or challenges that the startups are facing seeking these grants?
I try to allude to it, and thank you for the question, and thank you for allowing me to be here. I think the misconception, and that's also the experience when I have listened to some of these presentations, were often that the main idea is presented without the client focus. And when I started talking about Bank of America, it's really any idea to a large extent serves the client. And I understand that we are trying to have Climate-KIC, but in the real world, nobody pays you for being sustainable if you don't have any clients who want to pay or want to switch to the product. So the biggest pitfall for me in any presentation is not to make the presentation client-centric. Be it a switching argument or being an argument why you will be able to attract new clients or why this is a new product which clients want. In the end, business is only as good as a client you have.
And looking at that actually, at who's going to pay for it, what trends do you currently see in the landscape according to these types of startups?
When we look at the startups, there's really, and I obviously don't have a complete view, but what we see, there's a huge trend to trading based, so matching a problem with creating value out of that problem. So, for example, waste collection or analysis of impact of pollutant, for example. in any form or shape, and that's then based on an app where people can match demand and supply. And the reason why that is picked often is because it has relatively low startup costs and a very high ramp. And there are many competition in that now, because basically it's kind of the iPhone-based ideas of working, or let's call it the trading-based, Amazon and eBay-based ideas of working, and that seems to have lower barriers to entry for VCs. So that's a big area of incoming requests for funding. The second bucket is in the retail landscape, where alternative products, or very often also alternative ways of using or reusing apparel, is being discussed, because that's been identified as a major problem in terms of waste and in terms of CO2 usage. And generally what we don't see enough of is really the manufacturing-based ideas, because they have relatively high startup costs and require significantly longer entry points, because they break into monopolies. So I think the most encouraging programs and the most encouraging words I would have for people who have a manufacturing process idea or a replication of a manufacturing process on a lower level, pollution level, is really to start working with incumbents, because they normally have a monopoly position, so basically a position of strength in the market. And it's often required that you actually work with those, or look at the supply chains. Let's say a plastic sheet producer uses if you have a better plastic sheet. So the manufacturing side is the trend which I see coming now, but it has been for a few years significantly less active, because it has high barriers to entry. Overall, in the VC market, it's exactly the same as in the non-sustainable VC market. Everything is de rigueur on the services based, which you can on an app replicate, and it's much harder to do manufacturing development.
Thank you so much for your great and very insightful answering. I think this is of great help to our teams, and also as you outlined at the beginning, it's also to be part of this competition, of course, and that they can learn from each other, and also the connections they made, and learn to have this process together. For now, I would like to thank you very much for your contribution. And it's actually amazing that your slides were on screen, so we don't have to share them afterwards. We can just go there and use them for whenever they're needed. So thank you so much. I've learned that the jury is still in deliberation, so therefore we will have a very brief short break right now, and then we will have the three winners that we will unveil to you. So I would again like to thank Catherine very, very, very much for your great presentation, and I look forward to see you after the break.
Thank you.
We have seen great initiatives come by and everyone had great ideas and a very cool path ahead of them. The jury has selected 3 teams already, but only one, of course, can claim victory. I would like to start with Steven. Steven, hi, welcome. You've been in the deliberation room and it's almost time to unveil the top 3 of today. But before we do that, I would like to ask you, how did you experience today from the other side of the table?
So yeah, thanks. It was tough. So because there were so many great pitches today, I mean, making it here to the 8 final ones is it's a great achievement, and you can already see that in the pitches, in the presentation, the ideas, but also in the advancements of those. As we participated in 2017, I honestly have to admit it was more an idea and a concept on the first time we put that on paper. What I've learned today is really you can see that a lot of those businesses or ideas already businesses. So it was a great experience on the other side. And it was really a tough decision because many of them are really close to each other, hard to evaluate. And I can just say I wish all 8 good luck advancing on their journey.
Thank you so much for your encouraging words, and thank you also for your presence. Well, I can't really not wait to announce the winners, but before we continue with that, I would like to have a few words to the startups. Startups, you are all winners, you did very well. I want you to prepare your speech because after the announcement, I will ask you a few words. So get ready. And then we can continue. I would like to invite here in the studio with me Marianne Krijns. Marianne? It's so great you're here actually in your own office. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's great having you here.
Yeah. How was the vibe in the deliberation room?
Now, like Steven already mentioned, we found it quite hard. And although all the 8 pitches were great and good ideas, we had easily our top 4. So we had 4 startups that for us were the best. And then to make a selection and come to a top 3 was very difficult. And even it was, in that case, we had to let one being out.
Okay,
the number 4. And that felt a little bit, such a good idea, and it's not going in the top 3.
Listening to your story, you're here to announce the bronze, but I have the feeling that you maybe want to announce the 4th place as well?
Yeah. Although it might be a bit sad, we still think we want to mention that the company Senspor is our number 4, unfortunately. But it's also very nice that they are the number 4 because we strongly believe in their idea. We really think that they have something special, something new that in the horticulture sector is going to make great business. But on the other side, we still see that there are quite a lot of things they still have to find out. So we wish them good luck, but I'm sure we're going to hear more from them.
Okay, well, Team Senspor, indeed. Next time, more luck. But for now, you have all the support of the jury, although you're not in the top 3 today. Well, without further ado, you were here at first place to announce the bronze, so the 3rd place. And who is going away with that 3rd prize today?
Yeah, the 3rd prize is for a company that is already a bit more advanced, a bit more proven. And what we like very much is that it's in the construction sector, which is also a very polluting sector. So the number 3 is Reforma.
Congratulations! Well, as said previously, congratulations again, actually. And do you want to share something? How do you feel?
Sure. Thank you so much. I just want to say, it's a bit bittersweet. You're not coming first, but it's okay. Being in the top 3 is a fantastic thing. This has been a brilliant journey. And actually, I was thinking about this before. The fact that there's this initiative going on in the first place and all these companies are trying to do something to save the planet in their retrospective areas is just super important. So congratulations to everyone. I think we're all winners. Honestly, we are. We're all doing this for such an important thing. So just congratulations to everyone else, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Really looking forward to where this can take us.
Well, congratulations again, and it really feels very nice to learn more about today's winners. Let's continue. I would like to invite Chris Rowe. Welcome. Chris, you will announce the runner-up of today. Without giving it away, why does this team deserve a podium?
Yeah, just to echo what the other judges said, I think it was, amazing the breadth and quality of ideas that we've seen today. So congrats to everybody. For us, this business addressed a very clear and urgent need within the jurisdiction, a very clear value proposition, which we really liked and really resonated. And I think what was really impressive for us was there was already some clear customer traction and clear demand from potential customers. So those were the things that we liked about this idea.
The second place goes to...
So the second place goes to Simple Energy.
Simple Energy, congratulations! Reinoud, how do you feel?
Yeah, very happy. Didn't really anticipate it, so quite happy being second. And yeah, it was a nice journey so far, and learn a lot from this. And yeah, wishing all the others good luck as well. But thank you a lot.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, and indeed also good luck to you. I'm feeling as nervous, as excited as we are coming to the conclusion of this event. Brian, I've learned that you have the name of the winner of today in your hands.
Yes, I do.
My colleagues are all gathering here in the studio, so I would like to invite you indeed here for some celebrational setup. Brian, looking back at the pitches, what made this team really stand out for you?
So, I mean, to start with, when we looked at, who the winner should be, we looked at, the size of the problem, how scalable it was, to some extent, how much investment was needed, and really how the teams thought about addressing the problem. So I think when we looked at, in this particular case, electricity production and how to manage greenhouse gases there is very well looked after, but the team felt there was not enough focus on thermal management piece and smart optimization. And really, the potential of the market is quite large. And we thought there was one standout who really had an idea that was commercial in production and really can make a big impact on the market.
Okay, thank you. And without further ado, who can call themselves the winner of the regional European finals?
So before I give the winner, I just want to reiterate what my colleagues have said. Climate, greenhouse, it's a huge problem. So although we have one winner, you're all winners, and we really encourage all of you to keep on doing what you're doing, because without that, our children don't have a future. So without further ado, the winner is Juan Controls.
Woo!
Yay! Thank you very much. That's great news. That's amazing.
Okay. What a great outcome. How do you feel? Do you have anything you want to share with the jury, with the audience?
Yeah, very excited. Thank you very much. And I would also like to congratulate all the other teams and pitches. It was a great afternoon. Great to see all these interesting projects. And actually, the entire journey, I mean, I actually, at the beginning of this meeting, I thought about the date of the application, and then, I mean, thinking this 6 months back, it has been an incredible journey. I do really remember the boot camps, and a lot has happened over these 6 months. So it has been really a great experience, and I'm very happy that we can call ourselves the winners.
Thank you so much. To you, as well as the 3 other contestants, I would like to ask you to stay in this call. Here we're going to bring you a little party celebration. So celebrations and congratulations. I want to thank also our sponsor, the Bank of America, as well as our ally in crime, Climate-KIC. And of course, everyone involved, the trainers, the coaches, all the national leads that put all this effort into the amazing programs, the teams, of course, and everyone here from Technique. Thank you so much, and we would love to see you next year. Cheers.